Welcome into the Week 5 edition of Taylor's Take. Dan Collins alongside Matsu Minor skipper Ben Taylor. Skip, thanks for joining us. A lot of good things to talk about.
Yep.
First, we're going to rewind it a little bit to this past weekend, the ABL Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. And if you look at who won the Home Run Derby crown and the All-Star Game MVP, you'll find that both of them have a little bit of something in common. That is, they play for the Matsu Miners. And we were talking about on the broadcast, it was just absolutely a good day to be a Miner that day. You were the skipper for the Blue Squad. And then on the Yellow Squad, it was Jacob Huey winning the MVP, and earlier, starting off the festivities on that Sunday, was the Home Run Derby, and Cam Montgomery taking the crown for that one. So absolutely just a good day to be a Miner. And what was that to be a part of as a skipper? You see both guys taking home a little bit of hardware.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for the kids, you know. I mean, just to make the All-Star team in the Alaska Baseball League is such an honor. You know, there's been so many great players and major leaguers and Hall of Famers make the All-Star team, and for these guys to get that honor, I know they all respected it and really humbled by it. And then to be able to win the Home Run Derby, you know, for Cam and for Huey to pitch and throw pretty well in the All-Star game and then homer and drive in the go-ahead run. I mean, what a good day for those guys.
Absolutely. So, now we're going to fast forward a little bit to the current time. Team is riding a 6-game winning streak. That's the longest winning streak in conference play of the season for the Matsu Miners, and part of that is just obviously because the team has just seems gelling as of late. And I want to talk a little bit about the two guys we just previously talked about, that being Jacob Huey and Cam Montgomery. Last night against the Pilots, Cam Montgomery with a multi-RBI ball game, and Jacob Huey, it seems like lately, even though he doesn't have necessarily enough qualified at-bats to lead the team, it seems like he's never missing a beat whenever you put him into the lineup. So it seems like Jacob Huey, whenever he's in there, even though he doesn't get a lot of ABs, seems like he doesn't necessarily have to be the type to get used to that one at bat, at least not yet, because whenever he's in there, he's effective, at least getting on base once. And Cam Montgomery looks like he's starting to get a little bit out of that rut that he was in. Maybe the All-Star break kind of helped that.
Yeah, you know, I think the thing with Montgomery started 2 or 3 games before the All-Star break. You know, he homered against the Chinooks. He's starting to swing the bat a lot better. He made some adjustments with his swing, and I think he's just more comfortable with everything. And then, you know, he had a couple of really good games in the showcase, you know, carried that into the Home Run Derby, and then last night, what do you have, 4 RBIs last night?
Yeah.
So, you know, he's starting to really, you know, solidify himself and put his hand up as to be a real, you know, a real cog, a real key to the way this lineup operates as a unit.
Yeah, and if you want to see exactly what that 6-game winning streak or what this means to the club, we'll stick with statistics. League leaders in both batting average and ERA in the Alaska Baseball League. And what does that mean? This team had a little bit of trouble early on hitting, but it's been a pitcher's league, it seems like any ball club throughout this season, but still leading the league in both batting average and ERA. What does that say about the ball club and how they've been progressing as of late?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're hitting is not a surprise. You know, these guys have a lot of pedigree. And you look at the depth of the guys we have. You know, the other night we had, you know, A.J. Lee on the bench and Tyler Wyatt on the bench, and those guys were both Gatorade High School Players of the Year. So these guys are just doing what they do. And it took them some time to get comfortable, but, you know, this isn't a real surprise to anybody within, you know, the friendly confines of this clubhouse. And, you know, going back to Huey, I mean, Huey's hit his whole life. He's been more of a hitter than a pitcher for most of his life. So, and he takes BP every day like he's going to start every day, and that kid's just got such a high compete level that, you know, he just does what he does.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about the friendly confines of this clubhouse. Yesterday, before we departed for Anchorage to face the Pilots at Mulcahy Stadium, I rolled up to the ballpark with the rest of the media crew, Jordan Swick and Josh Grissom. We heard a lot of ruckus going on in the clubhouse, and rumor has it there was quite a fun time of watching Family Feud here.
Yeah, that's what these guys do. They watch Family Feud. It comes on at 3 o'clock, and, you know, I've never been around a team, 8 summers as a manager, 11 summers total. I've never been around a team that competes more at everything, and it has more fun competing than these guys. These guys compete at the Family Feud.
Yeah.
Like, they yell and scream at the TV, and they cuss at the people on the TV when they say stupid things. And it's just fun. And these guys, you mentioned earlier about gelling, you know, these guys have really come together. It goes back to the day before the Pilots. We beat the Pilots here at home after the Kenai Roadie. You know, we kind of had a team meeting and got some things out in the open, and some expectations were laid out and some things were, more understood by everybody, and the guys have really done a good job holding up their end of the bargain.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Family Feud or if you partake in the watching it, but if you were playing fast money and you needed one player or coach to be on your side with that, it's the 1-2 punch. It's going to be Ben Taylor, and who are you taking to help with the guessing game?
I don't know. That's tough because some of the stuff that comes out of this comes out of the locker room area. I don't know, man. I don't think we could lose. We would get, what do they call it, from the ridiculous to the sublime. I'd take any one of these guys. It don't matter. It's like, that's like asking me who would I want with the game on the line, in the top of the World Series if we're lucky enough to get there or whatever. It don't matter. I'll take any one of these guys.
But there's not one player in particular who's always guessing the number one answer.
Nope, they're all good.
Really? So there's not one guy you wouldn't take either. There's not one guy who's absolutely terrible at it.
There's not one guy that I would choose over another in this clubhouse to do anything.
So that is absolutely why I guess they're very, very competitive games. But we'll stick to fun topics. So we're going to switch from Family Feud. BT, you're quite a fan of superheroes. You're saying that I believe it's Batman.
Yeah, Batman. I'm not like a superhero nerd, but I like Batman. I think he's pretty awesome.
Okay, so Batman is your favorite superhero.
Yeah.
If we'll go with your coaching staff first, that being your assistant Joe Perez, pitching coach Matt Greeley. If they were to be superheroes and or villains, who would they be? You could go DC, Marvel, whatever you want.
We know Greeley wouldn't be the Flash based on the way he does his mound visits. Joe would be like Robin, from Batman and Robin, because he's real eager and he's hardworking and, he's not afraid to do the hard stuff. And Greeley would be like the Hulk.
Okay.
You wouldn't think it, but at the end of the night, when we get the laundry done and everything, Greeley transforms into we call him Hang Greeley because he gets really hungry and he completely changes his personality. So, yeah, Greeley would be the Hulk.
And what about the ball club, the boys on the roster and the pitching staff? Do we have any superheroes, villains, or maybe a little bit of both?
They're all either the Joker or the Riddler.
All of them.
All of them. They're just out there. These guys are just out there.
Who are maybe the top jokers on the club, you would say?
Pick a pitcher. The pitching staff is they're really out there. And then we got a lot of sneaky nut jobs with the position players. They come off as being, these sweet, nice boys, but no, they're all nuts. I think we're all nuts in this clubhouse.
And I want to get back to one more topic before we wrap things up here. You mentioned a key word that kind of stuck out to me. You said expectations during that somewhat of a team meeting you said. So what does it mean to put those expectations out in front, not necessarily hide from them? You want to kind of air it out and let people know exactly what Ben Taylor and the rest of the coaching staff, and even the players for that matter, are expecting from certain guys on this team.
Yeah, and it's what they expect from themselves, and you can't hide from expectations. And it's not about wins and losses or anything like that. It's, the expectation of how they're going to go out and how they're going to compete and what they expect from each other, what they expect from themselves. We haven't hid from expectations of these guys from day one. We're not afraid to say, hey, you're a good player. You need to do X, Y, and Z. It's just how it is around here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Skip, thanks for joining us for the Week 5 edition.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, it was a lot of fun, and 6-game winning streak for the Matsu Miners, their longest of this regular season, and 20 victories now on the year, almost close to that 10 games above 500. Seen a couple more victories.
There.
Hopefully we'll get one tonight against the Pilots, as they have a home game tonight. It'll be a 6 p.m. start, day off, and then another game against the Pilots here on your Matsu Miners Radio Network.